What's good, y'all? So here's the update. What's going on in terms of the South African president meeting with President Trump? It's crazy. Let's get into it.
Hey, my people, I had to jump on and bring you a quick but important update because something big is going down today in Washington. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is meeting with President Donald Trump at the White House today. Now, that alone is a headline, and we've covered it here on the breakdown. But what's raising eyebrows is who else is joining the meeting. According to the official presidential schedule, Elon Musk is now confirmed to be part of the 2-hour meeting. Yes, Elon Musk, the South African-born billionaire, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink, and now also a special government employee in Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. So why is Elon in the room? And what's at stake here? Let's break that down quickly. First, here's the official timeline. At 11:30 a.m., Trump will receive Ramaphosa at the White House. At 11:45 a.m., there will be a working lunch. Then at 12:45 p.m., a bilateral meeting with media access. We'll be watching. And at 1:30 p.m., the meeting will conclude. Now, South Africa's delegation includes top cabinet ministers, as expected, international relations, trade and industry, agriculture, but they also brought some.
Y'all. So here's a little update. Well, not really an update, more like a prologue. So essentially, if you guys are not familiar, the white Africans within South Africa, they're saying that it's a genocide being happening first. They are only white farmers by the black farmers. So they're saying that ethnic, segregation, racial segregation, ethnic injustice, something like that, along the lines like that. So essentially, there's no genocide is happening at all. People have come out, white Africans have come out as well and said, no, there's no genocide that's happening. I'm surprised the genocide, but no bodies found. You guys, you got to ask questions. You can't just go by it like, where's the bodies? Think. So essentially, the president of South Africa, he came into the United States, set up a meeting with Trump to see if they can clear the confusion. But what they're saying is, it's the United States. They have California, San Francisco, the Bay, technology everywhere. They can find you by just fingerprints, like, information data centers, the hugest in the world, So it's like, how did you get misinformation? What is going on? You have U.S. bases in South Africa. You have U.S. bases in South Africa. So that's the little backstory prologue. Let's get back to it.
Heavy hitters from business and civil society. We're talking about the billionaire chairman of luxury goods company Richmond, Johan Rupert, founder and CEO of Discovery Limited, Adrian Gore, and even top golfers like Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, for that soft power diplomacy, because we all know Trump loves golf. So there may be an invitation of some sort in there. And in the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, President Zingizwa Losi is also attending, signaling Labor's presence in the room. And from the U.S. side is Trump's full inner circle, VP J.D. Vance, Secretary Pete Hegseth, Commerce, State, and of course, Musk. But let's get real. This isn't just a polite diplomatic lunch. There's serious business behind the scenes. And Elon Musk's presence, that's the signal. Sources say Ramaphosa may be preparing to offer major concessions to Elon Musk's companies, especially Tesla and Starlink. We're talking favorable tariffs for Tesla, making it cheaper and easier for Musk to flood South Africa with electric vehicles. But that's just the appetizer. The real headline, a potential exemption from South Africa's 30% local ownership law. For those who don't know, that law requires all foreign tech companies to either cede 30% ownership to Black South Africans or invest the equivalent in local skills development and training. It's been a cornerstone of South Africa's post-apartheid economic justice strategy, not just inclusion, but ownership, not just access, but power.
So here's some more information on the issue. They're saying that the minority, which is a white African, they own 70% of the wealth and that comes into the country, as well as the infrastructure that's in the country. So essentially, they're saying that, look, we as well, we the actual Africans, we want to learn how to do these things as well. Because you have to understand, apartheid was not too long ago. It was 19. Hold on, let's go add some information. $1994. $1994, y'all. I'm telling you, 1994. Like, let me put the drum back on. So essentially, 1994 to 2005. $30 years. They've only been free from apartheid 30 years. And you guys don't want to teach them how to use these foreign things? And y'all saying it's a genocide. Where's the bodies? A genocide? See, when they were speaking on the issue and the matter on the news, they never show any pictures of Black South Africans actively, or even, I didn't see no attacking of white people, farmers at that. The funny thing is they don't want to mention that there's a city in South Africa that only accepts white Africans. No Black Africans allowed at all. Why didn't I talking about that? But let's get back to it.
Elon Musk, who was born in South Africa, has been publicly claiming irony. But now, word is Musk may be getting a pass. Here's the irony. Elon Musk, who was born in South Africa, has been publicly claiming that the government wouldn't let him operate there because, quote, he's not Black. But that's not the full story. He never even applied for a license. Why? Because he refused to comply with the country's ownership requirements. So my people, if South Africa caves here, it won't just be about Elon Musk. This sets a dangerous precedent, one that says billionaires can bypass African laws if they are powerful enough. Tech billionaires. One that chips away at Africa's broader goals of digital sovereignty, economic transformation, and Black equity in the industries of the future. And it doesn't stop at Musk, because according to reports, Trump is planning to ask Ramaphosa to make the same exemption for all American companies. So this is a moment of truth. Will South Africa stand by its vision of shared prosperity and local empowerment? Or will Ramaphosa trade away hard-won policies at the altar of diplomatic appeasement? We're watching.
CNN's Larry Madowo now digs into the reality of what's going on in South Africa.
Land the promotion. Secure the position. Take your career even higher. At Kelly.
White South Africans, many of them farmers, enter the American dream. Some too young to know they've also entered an international firestorm.
Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America.
The U.S. government says it's taking in these refugees fleeing alleged racial discrimination at home.
That's why they've opened the door for them.
Yes, and they don't fit that bill. Those people who have fled are not being persecuted. The American government has got the wrong end of the stick here.
South Africa's president has come to the U.S. to set the record straight and is expected to meet President Donald Trump Wednesday, hoping to reset the two countries' relationship. It was his signing of a controversial land seizure law in January that invoked Trump's wrath, allowing the state to take unused farmland without compensation if deemed just, equitable, and in the public interest. South Africa's majority black population still owns just a small percentage of farms more than 30 years after apartheid officially ended, while most are owned by the white minority. There were 36 murders at farms between April and December last year, but only 7 of the victims were farmers, according to police data. But President Trump calls it a, quote, genocide against white farmers.
They're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. It's a genocide that's taking place.
The accusation, partly stemming from this apartheid-era song, made popular again by far-left opposition leader Julius Malema.
Kill the poor, the farmer,
But AfriForum, the conservative white Afrikaners lobby group, won't explicitly say there is a white genocide.
There's a call for genocidal call. People are being killed and people are being tortured. We need to prevent this from going further.
AfriForum is described by the US-based Southern Poverty Law Center as a white nationalist group. They have the ear of the US administration, but they're not leaving South Africa.
At AfriForum, we say our future is in Africa because our ancestors came here more than 300 years ago.
South African-born entrepreneur Elon Musk has fanned the accusations against his homeland, frustrating locals.
I think they are lying. There's no genocide in here.
Elon Musk is overhyping the situation. There's no such as genocide.
We mustn't mischaracterize things as a genocide. There's no mass expropriation of land taking place in South Africa. There's no genocide taking place.
Musk reportedly wants approvals for his companies to operate in South Africa.
Is Elon Musk invited when you have that face-to-face meeting?
Well, I don't know. They will determine whether Elon Musk is part of it or not.
President Ramaphosa hopes to mend the rift and convince Trump to attend the G20 summit in Johannesburg in November.
So why is Ramaphosa even at the White House today? Why this high-stakes meeting now? Let's be clear. Ramaphosa requested this meeting. And it's not just about business. It's about damage control. Because earlier this year, January 2025, Donald Trump launched a full-scale rhetorical attack on South Africa. He took to social media, conservative talk shows, and campaign rallies, accusing the South African government of committing a, quote, mass genocide against white farmers. He called the land expropriation policy meant to address centuries of dispossession a, quote, crime against humanity. And the fallout was immediate. U.S. foreign aid to South Africa was slashed. The trade and development incentives were frozen. And perhaps most controversially, Trump fast-tracked white South Africans for refugee and asylum status in the U.S. under a narrative of ethnic persecution. That kind of international framing has been devastating for South Africa's global reputation and, of course, for its economy. So today's meeting is Ramaphosa's attempt at a reset, a chance to repair the relationship, reopen economic channels, and hopefully maybe even shift the narrative. But here's the tension. We know Ramaphosa is ready to offer major trade concessions. Tesla, Starlink, favorable tariff, exemptions from local ownership laws. But what we don't know is whether he's planning to walk back or water down South Africa's land reform laws to appease Trump. Because for Ramaphosa, land reform isn't just policy, it's political survival.
I'm going to pause there. The land reform law states that any company, any foreign companies that comes into the South Africa, market, they must contribute 30% into the economy for the workers of South Africa, the dark skins, the actual Africans, for them to be able to learn these things, get better, acquire the skills and the education it takes in order to operate these things and, create infrastructures of their own. He's trying to bypass that. Elon Musk, $100 billion, does not want to give 30% equivalent or 30% of what the company made to South Africa. That's the two conditions. Either you give them money or you put money in their infrastructure so the workers there, that actual Africans, they're able to, be able to learn these things, study these things, understand, and, create things of their own. So with that being said, you guys have to understand, why would you want to bypass a law like that? Then he's speaking on this, and that. Let's get back to it.
But for Trump, this is a convenient culture war weapon. So the question is, will South Africa stand firm on land justice while negotiating economic recovery? Or will this be another case of Western pressure forcing African leaders into quiet compromises?
And so IO is merging with OpenAI.
Behind closed doors. We're watching. So this is a moment of truth, not just for Ramaphosa, but for South Africa's broader post-apartheid promise. If Starlink gets a pass, if Tesla slides through without real local accountability, if U.S. companies walk away exempt from the 30% law, what does that signal? It signals that foreign powers can write their own rules in Africa, that economic justice can be negotiated. And let's be real, what happens in South Africa won't stay in South Africa. If this law falls here, you can bet other countries will start pushing for similar concessions across the continent. So yes, today's meeting may be wrapped in flags and photo ops, but the stakes are very high. Ramaphosa may be able to make amends with Trump, but the question we need to be asking is, at what cost? What will he be giving up? My people, we'll be watching closely because Africa deserves real partnerships, not billionaire exemptions. And every move made in that White House today will echo far beyond the walls of Washington. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Ramaphosa is making the right move? Or is this all a big mistake? Stay tuned because this story is still unfolding and I'll be bringing you updates.
Yeah, y'all. So shit. Like, what do y'all think? What do y'all think he's gonna give up? Because that's really the question. It's not the fact that is he gonna give up. You set the meeting up. You set the meeting up. And then what they don't talk about is they're gonna build a military base in between Mali and Burkina Faso. I said the name wrong. Excuse me. I'm sorry. My apologies. But look at that. We trying to gain sovereignty, and they saying no. But we the poorest continent. What's the poorest country on earth? Africa, dummy. No, it's a continent. It has countries inside of it. So what are you talking about? We ain't gonna get on that. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. You know we back on. Anyways, yeah, keep pumping this John up, like, comment, subscribe so I can pump out more shit. My shit can touch the algorithm. Once that happens, now we got news from everywhere coming through. Because I don't just react to, what's going on here. I'm also interested in what's going on outside. Like, man. But, support, like, comment, subscribe. Stay dangerous.